It is often said that they no longer teach virtue in our public schools in America. That's not exactly the case. Something more insidious is happening. It's not that we've thrown out virtue completely. It's that we have replaced traditional virtue with what I would call pseudo virtues. In our schools, they no longer talk about courage or wisdom or faith or hope or love, any of the classical or Christian virtues. Instead, we have given our students sort of negative virtues: tolerance, multiculturalism, environmentalism. I know this is an exaggeration, but not very much. There's many a young man in our public school today that says, well, yes, I sleep around with girls, but it's okay because I recycle cans. The problem is that we are moral, ethical creatures. We do seek virtue. If the schools really threw out virtue altogether, we might notice. But by replacing it with negative pseudo virtues, we don't realize what's happening to us. Rather than practice love, caritas, agape, that moves outward towards the other person, we now practice tolerance. Tolerance basically means I'll overlook your sins if you overlook my sins. We need to get back to a more active view of love. In fact, Lewis said 60 years ago that if you asked anybody of his age what the most important virtue was, they would not say love, they would say unselfishness. Notice that unselfishness is a negative virtue. You're not actively showing charity to people, you're foregoing something you want in order to make somebody feel better. That in and of itself, I suppose, is not bad, but what normally happens when you practice unselfishness is that you're doing it in a way that manipulates the other person, so they know that they're foregoing it just to make themselves feel better. Believe me, if you are on the receiving end of charity, you can tell the difference between someone who is extending charity to you out of real love, out of moving outward towards you, and others who are doing it so they can feel good about themselves, how unselfish they are. Lewis tells a wonderful, terrible scenario in the Screwtape Letters about a family that plays the unselfishness game. One of us suggests, let's have tea in the garden. The other people don't want to do it, but out of unselfishness, they say, okay, I guess we can do that. But they say it in such a tone as to say, I don't want to do that, but I'll do that to be unselfish so you can see how nice I am. Well, when someone says that to us, we don't want to be, their shill to look how nice and unselfish they are. So we say, no, let's not do that. And Lewis says in the end, we end up doing what nobody wants, and we all get very angry. Because unselfishness can actually cause a great deal of selfishness and anger.